So, as you may or may not know, we are coming up to the local election season. And like anything local in the world, it's sometimes hard to countenance how much sometimes national issues will affect local votes. Ultimately, yes, it does have an effect on the vote and how it is affected. But then sometimes we have in the UK a very unique tradition of joke candidates, and this has been carried on for a number of years. But sometimes some of these joke candidates do go forward and make a point, and indeed some of the best joke candidates we have ever had in the UK have been often the ones to go forward and make a point. So it brings me absolute supreme pleasure today to talk about the one, the only, the former Lord Buckethead, or now Count Binface, after the titanic struggle on planet copyright, has today released his manifesto for his mayoral run in London. And I ultimately recommend you watch his fantastic campaign video, It's Hip to be Mayor. And also, just to laugh at Lawrence Fox, Lawrence Fox has spent upwards of over £1 million so far on his campaign, and so far in the polls is only attracting a 1% of the vote share so far, which is exactly the same as Count Binface, and he has spent nothing. So it just goes to show you, Lawrence Fox, always a joke. So before we dive into his fantastic manifesto, please do remember to hit that like, share and subscribe button. And of course, down below there is a link to my Patreon page, as well as a one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, buy me coffee. And thank you to all those people who do support me that way. So, on with the manifesto. So this comes to us courtesy of the London Economic, and the title is Count Binface has released his manifesto for London. I'm sorry. And it's just wonderful. So, London's mayoral candidate Count Binface has released his manifesto for the election, promising to ban loud snacks from the theatres and banish Piers Corbyn to the Phantom Zone. He gets my vote for doing that. The satirical political candidate, created by the British comedian John Harvey in 2018, is back on the ballot paper after standing against Prime Minister Boris Johnson as a candidate for Uxbridge and South Ruislip in the 2019 general election. He caused a stir after polling released yesterday put him on par with the anti-lockdown campaigner Lawrence Fox and UKIP's Peter Gammons. Fox has pledged to abolish the lockdown from the date of the election on May the 6th, which is a little over a month before all lockdown restrictions get eased anyway, and has said that he will remove mask mandates, scrap low-traffic neighbourhoods, and get rid of any unnecessary cycle lanes. The parodies pale in comparison to that of Count Binface, who released his manifesto to much fanfare on social media. Among the pledges is a promise to tie the government minister's pay to that of nurses for the next 100 years and have London rejoin the European Union. He will also reopen Traitors Gate, an infamous entrance to the Tower of London, and welcome Dio Harding on day one. The manifesto has also drummed up a lot of support on social media, with Brian Cox saying that he agrees with almost every policy in the document. Others have called on voters to give it a real consideration, with the government's ministers' paid pledge being given particular attention. So now we're going to go through his... Oh, hang on. When we get to it. His manifesto promises, because some of these are quite fantastic. So, there we go. So here's number one. So London Bridge to be renamed after Phoebe Waller. Hammersmith Bridge to be repaired and renamed Wayne after the former England international footballer. 3. Croydon to get a facelift, ironically. 4. No shop to be allowed to sell a croissant for more than £1. I 100% agree on that, because croissants in London are ridiculous. Ridiculous prices. So, number 5. Free parking between Vine Street and the Strand for electric vehicles only. HS2 protesters to be allowed to build their own Euston all the way to Birmingham, and then to be followed by a second tunnel that links Birmingham to Manchester. 7. Finish Crossrail. Sensible policy for a sensible candidate. 8. At Trafalgar Square, Sir David Attenborough to be placed on the 4th plinth, or a statue erected of him. Either's fine. 9. Speakerphones on public transport are to be banned, and offenders are to be forced to watch the movie version of Cats every day for a year. Number 10, London to join the EU. That's, again, sensible policy for a sensible candidate. 11, government ministers pay to include the mayors. Government ministers, including the mayors, to be tied to that of the nurses for the next 100 years. Seems pretty fair. 12, all loud snacks to be banned from theatres. Agreed. The Trekado to be banned into a truly top-notch video arcade. Number 14, Piers Corbyn to be banished to the Phantom Zone. I agree with that 100%. 15, I will create the Smart Speakers Corner, replacing the usual nutters who stand around at Hyde Park with the state-of-the-art technology that A, understands the Earth is round, and that B, will perform a fart sound on command. The current incumbents can only do the latter. 16, on one day every year, escalators on the London Underground will be reversed, encouraging travellers to go up, down escalators and down on the up ones as a free gym and gladiator simulator all in one. 17, mask wearing in public to be encouraged during the pandemic and beyond. 18, the royal family to keep one of Buckingham Palace, Kensington Palace, St James Palace, and Clarence House. The rest will be gifted to the nation to help. To help the homeless. If the royals complain, one place that isn't enough, they will be forced to buy Crystal Palace FC. Number 19, the hand dryer in the gents' toilets at the Crown and Treaty Uxbridge to be moved to a more sensible position. Still on that one. And finally, Traitors Gate to be reopened for business and to welcome on day one Dio Harding. So yeah, that's Count Binface manifesto. And of course, if you are in London, you will get the absolute fantastic choice to cast your vote seriously for Count Binface. So I ultimately do urge you, if you are able to vote in London, do cast your vote for Count Binface. So as always, thank you for watching. Please do remember to hit the like, share and subscribe button. And of course, down below there is a link to my Patreon page, as well as a one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next time.